Okay, so I think most of y'all are familiar with what we're talking about and what it is we're trying to do here. Um, Okay, I guess the other document is that's on the regular session. Kelly, uh,
Yes, sir.
the actual legislation.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, essentially, to make a long story short, um, folks, we are looking to get our financial house in order. One of the reasons we selected a new city manager is to get our financial house in order. One of the reasons we have a new city finance director is to get our financial house in order. Because at the end of the day, that's the gas that's in the tank that makes the city move forward. These two pieces of legislation, I think, will stabilize this city financially for many, many, many years to come. And I think it's really necessary for us for many reasons. As you all know, we have a diverse tax revenue and a unique set of tax digest revenues that other cities do not have. Our neighbor, South Fulton, 80% of their tax revenues, over 80% of their tax revenues come from residential homes. So if a pandemic hits, they're going to get their tax money. If there's a downturn in the airline industry, they're going to get their tax money. If it's political instability or unrest or something happening, they're going to get their tax money. Our mix is less than 25% residential. Over 75% of our tax digest depends on our hospitality mix. So for us, we've got a different equation in terms of securing financial stability. So there are two things that I think we need to make strict guidelines on. One is regarding issuing bonds, city bonds. The second is our fund reserve balance. Now, College Park is home to all of us here, as far as I know, and to about every resident that we have. This is home. And the household equivalent of issuing a city bond is like taking out a second or third mortgage on your home. Right now, we have about 16 or so bond instruments already outstanding. So that's a lot of mortgages we have out. And they all have varying balances of debt payments remaining on them. The household equivalent of fund reserve balance is sort of like your household emergency fund, or in other words, your family's life savings. That's what our fund reserve balance is for us. Now, in my family, in our family, we would never, ever go into our life savings unless it was a most serious matter, obviously. In other words, unless we were managing a financial emergency, unless something was serious and important. And what these guidelines simply state is that before a decision of this magnitude is made, that both parents, mom and dad in the household, unanimously agree if they're going to touch that money. Because that's the medical emergency money. That's the kids' college fund money. And when you touch that money, you affect things generationally. So in other words, it better be a unanimous decision. That's not a decision I could make myself without my wife. And this is the family up here at the end of the day. Folks, 2026, and I don't know if you heard, but it is the year of more responsible governance in College Park. And it's happening thanks to this body, thanks to our city manager, thanks to our city attorney and finance and all of our departments that have recommitted and doubled their efforts towards making this city much better. And we all have been listening to our residents, y'all. And the one constant message that I think we all have been hearing is don't play with my tax money. I know that's what I've been hearing.
Exactly.
There's economic instability with federal policy. nationwide. I think we're all aware of that. This policy change builds the financial mechanism that the current moment requires and that our city's unique tax structure requires. So I think this would be one of the best decisions we make to stabilize our finances for a long time. So,
Councilmember McKenzie?
I have no comments. I've read it and I have no questions or comments. I've already talked to Councilman Carn if I had anything.
So our current fund reserve policy is 50% of our general fund budget. This actually takes away that threshold and says the city shall maintain fund reserves at levels sufficient to ensure fiscal stability, continuity of operations, et cetera, et cetera. But it doesn't actually come up with a number.
well, there is a number. City manager, and along with this.
I wasn't finished with my question. I was just stating it.
We haven't gone to Councilman Arnold yet.
Yes, she said she didn't have anything to say.
Okay.
And so that 50% threshold that we have right now, we are, I believe, perilously close to because of some transfers out that need to occur. I'm unclear about the rationale for removing that threshold and making it more general in this resolution. So if someone could clarify that, I would appreciate it. Councilmember Carn?
I can clarify that. First of all, we will not be removing any fund threshold at all. Second of all, why I wanted this on workshop for discussion is that I am proposing a 60% fund reserve balance goal. I'm going to say it again, a 60% fund reserve balance goal. Why is that a good thing? Well, I'm glad we asked. I will tell you why. We have hit that number before in College Park, and we were secure, and we all slept a whole lot better at night knowing that we had that cushion financially in this city and residents where we could weather any storm. Again, I am proposing a 60% fund reserve balance goal. Now, we may not get to 60%, but that's the goal, to get to 60%. And we want to continuously strive to make sure we're aiming for 60%. You know, some years it may be 55. We may hit 57. We may hit 54, but that's our goal. And we want to keep as much in reserves as we possibly can. So I want to also add to this language, a 60% fund reserve balance goal. That's the goal. 50% is the minimum. That's the minimum. That will not change. I'm going to say that again. That's not going to change. But we've got to step it up back to where we used to be. And we got to be careful with how we're spending. We do very, very well financially as a city. But last year, I think things got a little bit out of hand. And we decided up here to make some changes to make sure that that doesn't happen again. But we have to put financial guardrails in place to make sure that that's not going to happen again, unless it's a dire, serious emergency matter. And in terms of the sitting council members, as opposed to all four of us, this is a unanimous decision that would have to be made. Now, unanimous for sitting council members means if there are only 3 council members, then it would be a unanimous decision. If there are 4 council members, something of this magnitude would be a unanimous decision. And I think that's something that every resident can get behind 100%. As a matter of fact, I can tell you firsthand, I think every resident would be delighted to know that we're securing our finances in this manner where they know if we got a bond situation, it's going to be an emergency bond situation. And there's not going to be any question about that. So this is financial security, this is financial stability, and this is what taking the reins and policing ourselves and putting some restraints on our spending up here looks like. So
I think the 60% goal is a good one. The fund reserve policy, I heard you say that 50% is the floor. So that language in the resolution would actually support what you just said, that the 50% is the policy and our goal is always 60. And I think that would clarify that language and ensure that we are moving forward in sort of with one focus, that it never drops below 50, but 60 is where we're trying to go.
Mayor, you and I are on the same page here. That's why we wanted this on workshop. This legislation does change fund reserve policy. It keeps the 50% floor, but it sets a goal for 60%.
So it doesn't say that right now. So I'm
That's why I'm requesting that number be added in terms of what we're gonna do in terms of making sure that we have a goal and we have a number that we never dip below, but we are looking for that 60% fund reserve balance goal at some point in time.
So would you be amenable to, in section 1, and Mr. Hicks, I'm coming to you next, the city shall maintain fund reserves at 50% of the general fund budget for the fiscal year in question, or something along those lines, and strive to maintain a fund balance of 60%?
I'd say while the city maintains a minimum fund reserve balance of 50%, we set a goal, fund reserve balance goal of 60% from here on out. That's the goal.
I think we're saying the same thing.
Like I said, we're on the same page.
All right, Mr. Hicks?
So, Mayor and Council, I think the 60% of the reserve fund balance is admirable. And if 50% is a minimum, we won't make that goal in 26, 27. And we'll find that out during the budget. We're gonna be slightly below that because our expenses exceeds our revenues by millions of dollars. We gotta find a way to balance the budget. So we're gonna be a little bit below 50%.
And Mike, we did talk about that and discuss that. Now, I'm well
Yeah.
aware of that. Now, I understand that. And we may not make it there this year, I understand it. This policy is set for the next budget cycle and ongoing.
great.
So this hits the reset button after the 26, 27. So starting 27, 28, 50% is the minimum bottom. But we're gonna start striving, going the other direction, towards 60.
Okay. I do have a question for Mr. Denmark, and it's not in regard to this particular resolution, but the unanimous voting component and how that changes how this body does its work. And I certainly understand the goal of fiscal responsibility. That it also concerns me, thinking back to our COVID times when we had to refinance bonds. And that was a controversial decision that was not broadly accepted by everyone. I know, at least on BIDA, and I recognize that this is not a unanimous vote for BIDA, but that we had people who did not want to refinance our bonds at the time because they felt that we had taken out debt, we should honor those pledges. This is saying that we are, the ordinance that is for consideration later on indicates that if we dip into reserves at all, whether it is $1, whether it is $1 million, that has to be unanimous amongst the body. And also for any issuance of debt. And so does that change the form of our government?
No, ma'am, it does not. And I toiled over that very question because I thought about our charter, the rules that govern the body, how you vote. And, many years ago when I was a young man, I undertook to read the Bible cover to cover. The most surprising thing to me was that what was not in there, that I'd always heard in church and stuff, and when I read it, I'm like, that's not it. So the charter is much the same way. A lot of stuff that I thought was in the charter, you read it, well, that's not in there. And what's not in there is a requirement that you vote based on a majority vote. There's no requirement in the College Park Charter that a simple majority is required to pass a measure. So you can, if you so elect, enact an ordinance that passes a measure by unanimous vote, supermajority, or simple majority. You have that latitude. Now, the wisdom of doing that is for this body to decide, is it a good idea? And so, as I always say, lawyers answer the can we question, elected officials answer the should we question. So can you? Yes, you can. Should you? I'm sure you're going to vote about that later this evening.
All right,
I have one other comment.
Councilmember Carn?
And, well, I've read the charter many times over. However, I've never read the Bible cover to cover.
You haven't?
I have not. And Reverend Albert E. Love, God rest his soul, I consider him kind of a spiritual father to me. I told him, I said, I'm a Christian, God-fearing guy, but I said, I've never read the Bible cover to cover. I don't think I ever will. He told me, he said, all you got, just read Proverbs cover to cover. He said, that'll cover everything. If you read that and follow that, you'll be in good shape. I said, I got it. So I read that. Mayor, you got a good point. We may not all agree, and it may be a serious situation where we may not all agree, and we may say we're not going to float these bonds. And folks, you know what? That's a good thing. You know why? If we say no, because that means we're going to have to cut back on some things and make it work. So at the end of the day, there is enough money to go around. If we all don't agree with dipping into getting a 17th mortgage bond instrument, then so be it. We're gonna trim our budget and make sure we still provide the same level of services while slimming down. And that's what we need to do, if that's what we have to do.
Any further comment? All right, hearing none. Madam Clerk?
Next presentation is on the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee Selection and Workshop presented by Jaquez Garcia and Hannah
Adeogan.
Adeogan.
We got you, Kelly. Good evening,
My
Mayor,
apologies.
Council, City Manager, City Attorney, City Clerk. Tonight, Economic Development is here to talk to you about the steering committee selection and the updated comprehensive plan. And before we get into it, I want to introduce ourselves. My name is Jaquez Garcia. I'm the Program Manager for the Economic Development Department.
I'm Hannah Adeogan. I'm a program assistant.
Kelly, next slide. So tonight we'll be talking about 4 parts to this presentation. The first part is going over the purpose of the comprehensive updated plan. The second part is some key themes for the community engagement. The third part is the steering committee and their roles. And finally, next steps and questions. Next slide. So the purpose of the updated to the comprehensive plan is something of a long-term guide map that talks about the policies, the decision-making, and an investment tool towards certain areas that the community has identified as important, such as transportation, public investment, economic development, housing. And so the plan captures all of those and the visions and the goals in the long term and puts it towards the next 5 years. It's essentially saying this is what we want and this is what we need here as an investment. Next slide. As we continue to work with our consultants on a public engagement plan and we continue drafting this, we've noticed 4 key themes to kind of pop out at us going over engagement. Themes that we hold ourselves accountable to, such as continuous and visible engagement, a people-first approach, accessible participation, and leveraging community events. Those 4 key themes have informed what we are calling a community-centered approach. Next slide. Yeah. The community-centered approach are made up of 4 parts that we are committed to through our engagement through the lifetime of this public engagement plan, as well as a comprehensive update. And that is inclusive and transparent planning processes, engaging residents and stakeholders, focus on equity and representation, and incorporating real community feedback. And to talk more about incorporating that real community feedback, our wonderful program assistant, Hannah Adeogun, will talk about the steering committee.
Yes, so during the council meeting in January where you all approved the Inspire Comp Plan, you all emphasized how important resident engagement is. So that leads us to what exactly is the steering committee, which is a group of community representatives from the city of College Park. They provide guidance and feedback towards the comprehensive plan. They represent diverse perspectives from businesses in College Park and different communities that make up College Park. And they also act as a bridge between the city and the community. Next slide, please. So the steering committee responsibilities are attached here. So they have to attend 3 virtual meetings over an 8-month period. They provide insight on community needs for the comp plan. They serve as ambassadors for the project, and they also encourage community participation because we want this comprehensive plan to be a true representation of every facet of the city of College Park that not only shows its beauty, but also where we would like to see growth and economic prosperity. Next slide, please. So the request of mayor and council, which we've outlined to you all, is the support of the steering committee initiative by confirmation of appointees. So we have received a few appointees that we would like to appoint today as we are on a deadline, but please be rest assured that we will be appointing more people, more members at the April 6th meeting. So as many facets of the College Park community can be represented in this comprehensive plan. We want to also continue to encourage public participation throughout the plan update. There will be a plethora of opportunities for residents to be involved. So this is only the beginning, but of course we would love continued support throughout the wards because this is a huge effort that involves everyone's participation. And then also we would love just your continued support within all of the wards. So do you all have any questions for us? Oh, next slide, yeah.
Councilmember McKenzie?
No, thank you.
Councilmember Carr?
Let's go.
Councilmember Arnold?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we get 4 or 3 appointees? Because I could put another one on if we each get 4.
Yeah, if you want to put any extra people on, you can for the next.
Okay, great.
Yeah, 4.
Is it,
We would limit that to 4.
4?
Yes.
Okay, 4 total? Okay,
4. Yeah.
all right,
It's
great.
4 total for each.
Yeah, if you can, if possible,
Yeah,
but if not, it's okay.
absolutely.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Hicks, as a city manager.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
just
apologize,
wanna-
Mr. Hicks.
Just
Yeah.
gonna tell you, Mayor Council, that, we interviewed 4 people today for the Economic Development Director's position, so we're getting very close to getting a director, so we narrowed it down to 2 candidates. I think we've interviewed about at least 7 over the past few months, so we're looking forward to filling that position. So
Excellent.
this team has been very, very vital in helping me with that, so.
Fantastic.
Just
Thank you, sir.
FYI.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Next item, discussion on a special event permit from Fostered Foundation to host Campaign College Park Community Day 2026 on August 8th, 2026 at Badger Stadium. This item is requested by Queenie Brown, Deputy City Clerk. This item is in Ward 1.
Hello, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. I'm bringing to you Foster Foundation Campaign College Park 2026. This is a repeat event for the past 5 years?
4
years now.
4 years. Everything has been listed out in the packet. I do have Mr. Wilson here to answer any questions for you all.
Councilmember McKenzie?
I don't have any questions. I'm looking forward to this. We didn't do it last year.
Yeah,
So-
unfortunately, the weather kind of scared us off. It was like some severe weather that was coming in and out of the week, and we just didn't want to, jeopardize somebody getting hurt, and then we would have to get different insurances. I know the mayor had talked to me about it, and we were kind of bummed out about it. So this year, it was cool that you guys added an alternate plan, so if it doesn't happen on one week, we're able to schedule it, go ahead and kind of be ahead of the curve, ahead of the 8 ball, like you said earlier. So yeah, pretty excited.
Well, I'm excited about it and looking forward to what we didn't do last year. So we got a lot to make up for.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Carr?
all right, August 8th, is that, what day is that?
That's going to be on a Saturday,
It's a Saturday? All right, keep going.
which I will be coming to see you as well. So come speak to you guys.
Councilmember Arnold?
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
As am I. Appreciate it. Thank you for your commitment to College Park.
Thank you for your time. You guys have a good night.
All right, thank you. I think that is all that we've got. We're gonna take about a 15, we'll start at 7:40, pick up the meeting at 7:40, and we will see everyone for the regular